Welcome to Campfire Stories.
Welcome back to the fire, friends. When we left them, Lucas, Meyers, and Nora had finally turned to fight. In a country church hall, with a collector waiting outside and a powerful man's whole life in a shopping bag, Nora had found the only way to use the ledger safely, put it into 100 hands at once, so that silencing them would change nothing. A dead man's switch of their own. Tonight, they build it, and the man from the water tower comes to stop them.
Marty, I have been so proud and so scared for them both all week. Tell me the plan actually works.
The plan, Carol, was patient and clever, exactly like the man who inspired it. Nora knew you could not just mail a ledger to a newspaper and hope. Powerful men have friends at newspapers. So she did not aim at one target. Over 2 careful days, moving town to town, never sleeping twice in the same place, staying always where there were people, she and Lucas made copies. Many copies. And they addressed them. Carol, not to one office but to many, and not all to the country's own institutions where the smiling man had friends, but outward, wide, to places his hand could not reach. Reporters in other countries. Tax authorities across borders who would love nothing better than a gift like this. And each copy carried a single page on top, in Nora's hand, explaining what it was, who the man in the photograph was, and one instruction. If you're reading this, we are probably dead. Publish it anyway.
Oh, Marty? Publish it anyway. That is her father's whole spirit in one line. So even if they catch them, even if the worst happens, it does not matter, because it is already flying to 100 places at once.
That was the whole idea, Carol. Make yourself not worth killing. Because the collector's power and the smiling man's power rested entirely on the ledger existing in one place, in one shopping bag, in the hands of 2 people you could make disappear on a quiet road. The moment it existed in 100 places, set to go off whether they lived or died, the math flipped. Killing Lucas and Nora would no longer bury the secret. It would only be a murder, with the secret coming out regardless, and the murder pointing straight back at the one man who could not afford a single day of that kind of light.
So they are building the one thing that makes them safe by making themselves not matter. Marty, that is heartbreaking and it is genius. But building it takes days, and that patient man is still out there. Did he just let them drive around mailing parcels?
No, Carol. And this is where the last of it begins. Because the certain people understood the danger the moment Nora renting a box became Lucas surfacing in his own name became 2 people vanishing from Halford with a shopping bag. The collector's patient herding was over. Now it was a race, and both sides knew the finish line. Lucas and Nora had to get those copies into the mail, into the system, past the point of recall before the certain people caught them. And the certain people had to catch them before the last parcel dropped. And into the middle of that race, Carol, at a motor court on the edge of a town called Ferris Crossing, on the second night, came an old man in a good gray car alone.
Alone? Marty, the man from the water tower came alone? At his age, into the middle of this with no collector, no muscle. Why?
Because he was the only one who could, Carol. Think of what he was protecting. Not money, not the organization. Himself. His clean name. His photograph on charity walls. He could not have a collector do this, because the collector would then know, would then own him, and a man does not survive 40 years at the top of something like the certain people by handing anyone that kind of rope. Some things you have to come and bury with your own hands even at 80, precisely because you cannot afford a witness. He had the collector hold back. And he came to the door of a motor court cabin himself, and he knocked, and when Lucas Meyers opened it, 2 old men who had last seen each other across a hole in the ground 40 years before stood face to face.
Oh, Marty. 40 years. What did they say? What do you even say?
For a moment, nothing, Carol. Lucas told me the man had gone soft and spotted with age, stooped, a scarf at his throat, and he looked like anybody's grandfather, and that was the horror of it, that this gentle-looking old fellow was the coldest thing Lucas had ever stood near. And the old man looked at Lucas a long while, and then he smiled, that same mild smile from the water tower, and he said, "You dig a straighter hole than most grown men. I have wondered about you for 40 years, son. And here you are, and you have my whole life in a paper bag."
He remembered the very words from the hole all those years ago. Marty, he has carried that boy in his memory as long as Lucas has carried him. What did he want?
He wanted to make a deal, Carol, because a man like that always thinks there is a deal. He came in and he sat down, uninvited, in the one chair, and he was not afraid. And that was the frightening part. An unarmed old man in a room with two people he had wronged, entirely unafraid, because he had never once in his life met a problem he could not buy or bury. And he laid it out, mild as milk. He knew about the copies. He assumed some were already gone. He was not a fool. So he did not ask for the bag. He offered instead a life. He said, "You have spent 40 years poor in the ways that matter, hunted, hiding, sleeping badly. I can end that tonight. Money you cannot imagine. Protection, mine, the best there is. A name, clean papers, a country of your choosing. For you and for the girl. All you have to do is make one telephone call to the people you mailed those parcels to and tell them it was a mistake, a grief, a confusion, and ask for them back unopened. That is all. And you can put down the weight you have carried since you were a boy."
Oh, Marty, that is a terrible offer, because it is the exact thing Lucas has wanted for 40 years. Peace. Rest. To put it down. He is offering the boy the one thing the boy could never have. How does Lucas even stand up under that?
He nearly did not, Carol. He told me the truth of it, that for one long moment he wanted it so badly his knees felt weak. To just stop. To sleep. And the old man saw it, the way such men always see the soft place, and he leaned in, gentle as a grandfather, and he said, "You were never a criminal, son. You were a boy who got frightened. Let me take the fear away." And Carol, what saved Lucas Meyers in that moment was not his own strength. It was Nora. Because Nora, who had been silent in the corner the whole time, said one thing. She said, "That is what you said to my father." And the old man turned and looked at her, really looked, for the first time, and something flickered in that mild old face, because he had not known who she was.
Oh, Marty. He did not know Nora was the good coat man's daughter. He is sitting in a room with the child of a man he had killed, and he did not know it.
He did not know it, Carol, and Nora told him. She said, "You offered my father money and protection and a clean name too. Once for 11 years, and the day he stopped being useful, you had him burned in a car on a side road and called him an unidentified man. I was 15. So do not sit in this room and offer this man peace, because I know exactly what your peace is worth. It is worth a phone call and then a quiet road." And the old man was silent, Carol, and then he did the only honest thing he did in the whole encounter. He stopped smiling. And he stood up, slow, an old man's stand, and he said, "Well, then we understand each other." And he walked to the door, and he opened it, and he said, without turning around, "You should not have brought the girl, son. She has made this simple." And he stepped out into the dark. And 30 seconds later the lights of the motor court went out, all of them at once.
The lights went out. Marty, he was not alone after all, was he? He came to the door alone, but the collector was out there the whole time. Oh, they are in a dark cabin at the edge of nowhere with the parcels not all mailed and that man's patience finally spent.
All of it spent, Carol. He had come to offer peace because peace was cleaner. But Lucas said no, and Nora made it personal, and the old man had decided, walking to that door, that the simple way was the old way after all. The lights were out. The collector was somewhere in the dark between the cabins. There were still parcels in that shopping bag that had not reached the mail. And an old man and a woman were about to find out whether the trap they had built would go off in time to matter.
No, Marty, no, not with the lights out and the parcels not all gone. Does their dead man's switch actually save them, or did they run out of time by a single night? What does that collector do in the dark, and can two people, one of them near 70, get away from him? And the old man, the smiling pillar, walking off into the night, certain he has won, is he right? I cannot wait a week, but I will have to, and I will not sleep.
What happens in the dark at Ferris Crossing, and whether the trap the hunted built goes off in time, is where we go at last, toward the end of it. Until then, friends, sleep warm, keep the fire high between you and the dark, and remember, a man who offers to take away your fear is very often the thing you should fear the most. I'm Marty Shepherd.
And I'm Carol, and my heart is pounding at this fire tonight. Hold your people close, and come back for part 7.